Eddie Rivas is known mostly for his recent involvement with writing on RWBY, I believe, but apparently he's been working with RT as a brand archivist since 2018. I also thought he posted a couple months back on his Twitter about getting a promotion or something like that, but don't quote me, I may be mistaken. Now I'm going to show you a series of tweets from Eddie that perfectly showcases how toxic the RWBY fandom has gotten, unfortunately due to fanatical shippers. Now again, not all shippers are like this. There are plenty that are very chill. Unfortunately, a lot of the really toxic ones are a part of the RWBY community. So let me show you now what's going on here. And to be fair to Eddie, after all this occurred, he still tried to remain positive in his last tweet. And now here it is from the top. So the context is this tweet that says, "I love shipping characters that would absolutely get a divorce." And Eddie then responds and says, "Freeze or burn," which is the ship between Yang and Weiss. He then says, "Guys, I am cackling." And then he says, "Guys, this is 100% a joke and made in pure fun. I picked a ship out of a hat that was well known enough to be funny, but not so broadly beloved that it would melt too many brains. I'm surprised this is the tweet that gets me called unprofessional more than any other." Well, Eddie, unfortunately, if you're surprised by that, I have to say you probably don't know the RWBY fandom that well. And I hate to say it because you work on the show, but that's just how it is when you're saying that. He then says, "Please ship whoever you want. I think it's part of the fun of the show." I do agree with him on that. Yeah, shipping should be fun. Some people take it literally way too far. He then says, "I'm not hating on any ship, just having fun." And then he says, "People out here bringing up my actual divorce. Totally normal behavior." Dude, that's insane. Eddie makes a joke about ships, and people start insulting him because of his divorce and stuff. And even if they're not insulting, like, they're just bringing it up. Like, are you kidding me, guys? Very uncalled for, not cool. Eddie then says, "I mean, if anything, it means I've got extra expertise in calling it." Come on now. That's actually a pretty good tweet. I'll give him credit on that one. Pretty funny comeback. Then he says, "Thanks for the kind words, everyone. I'm really okay. Mostly it's disarming when a complete stranger attempts to go for the emotional jugular." Yeah, I know what that's like. Trust me. Then he says, "I get that broad statements about something people care about can feel like personal attacks, which is why some felt the need to retaliate." Now, I do disagree with him on the latter part of that. Like, them taking it as a personal attack and feeling the need to retaliate over it isn't a justification. Pointing that out doesn't make it okay, you know what I mean? It's definitely the wrong move on their part, and they need to fix that internally. He then ends with this. "When I first started interacting more with the fandom," and let me actually walk that back slightly. What I just said is totally my opinion, and, make of it what you will. I'm not a doctor. Anyways, he says, "When I first started interacting more with the fandom, I received some words of caution about how much I exposed myself to it, and still do." Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if those were coworkers warning him about that, which is hilarious to me. He then says, "At the end of the day, these interactions are something I value a great deal, even when some people feel the need to make it personal." That's the one I showed earlier, to be fair to Eddie. And then apparently he says this. I don't know what the context is. We'll read this anyways. "Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, what bothers me more than the actual personal attacks are the intent behind them. I can't wrap my head around ever going after a total stranger with the intent to wound them emotionally. And when people do that, it's jarring." Yeah, the RWBY fanatics do that all the time, man. All the time. Now, there is a big difference between the RWBY community and RWBY fanatics. However, it's unfortunate that a lot of the community are indeed fanatics nowadays in 2020. Didn't used to be like that, man, but, well, that's where we're at. And I believe that's all of the commentary/opinion I have on this topic. And to be quite honest, everything Eddie said by himself without my commentary is very telling alone. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Eddie, for sharing this. And hopefully the RWBY community gets better in the future. I'd like to say I'm optimistic for that, but I'm really not. I'm not optimistic anymore for that. So it is what it is, man. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch the rest of you next time.